And hello once again. It's another Monday. This time the 24th of July 2017. But I'm still Doc Eon, and I'm still going to show you a lot of miniatures, starting with the finished ones since last week. These are all humans, and most of them are from that range of cobblestone castings minis. It's the first of those that I've finished, I think. Yeah. And in the front rank here, you can see the female archaeologists. Now, pretty much for all of the ones I'm going to show you today, I took a good deal of inspiration from the painted examples on their website, but I didn't follow it slavishly. I didn't paint them exactly the same way. And for this one in particular, there was no painted example, so I had to make something up. And so I made her, you know, a white shirt and blue pants. Very simple. I've worked with a little bit more with dark lining than I normally do with these minis to make everything very distinct, because I feel that works with these sculpts. They're kind of a little bit exaggerated, maybe you could say cartoony in their style, and so yeah, an exaggerated painting style I think works. Now here are their male counterparts, the other archaeologists. So this guy looks more like a pilot, maybe. Maybe in hindsight, I would have gone a bit lighter on the color of his jacket, a bit more faded, but it's good enough. Here's two pistol packing archaeologists. That's a bit odd, but well. This guy looks more like he belongs on an archaeological dig, doesn't he? He's kind of more of a civilian. Oops. And finally, this guy might be more of a historian because he's carrying a big book. But he's kind of fun. And I also did the German mercenaries. Now these are all pretty dark, various shades of gray. I didn't look at any real reference. I didn't reference actual uniforms from the period. I'm not that ambitious. I just painted something that looks reasonable. So here's an officer with a monocle making a salute. Here's what I assume to be a pilot. He's got like a flying jacket on. And then we have the two soldiers. Now, I mentioned that I thought that those balls on the ends of their guns were going to be muzzle flashes or something, but then I looked at some of the other minis that I've been prepping and saw that there were similar blobs of metal at the muzzles of a lot of guns, even pistols and rifles being carried on the shoulder, so clearly not firing. So I decided that it was just a casting thing, and I removed it. Yeah, pretty dark, but you know, they should be, shouldn't they? And the very last mini I finished this week was not in this range. It was this kind of steampunky witch hunter from a new range of minis that I was trying out. I'm not happy with the shading on the cloak. It looks too dark. It looks a bit better. In real life, you don't notice the stark contrasts so much between the white and the dark gray. It all kind of blends together to the eye when you're holding it at arm's length. But yeah, But you know, I'm not going to be buying any more minis from this manufacturer because I didn't really enjoy the sculpt or the style of it. It's just whatever. But I finished it. So let's see what's still in progress. Well, currently on the table, in the painting table that is, we have 4 more of the cobblestone minis. Let's see if we can get a better angle on. These are the European advisors. We have a bunch of monsters that are in various stages. I've worked on the basis of them mostly. Added a base coat on this guy, a sort of wet blended base coat again, and on this guy I've also wet blended up from a green to a sort of pinkish gray here. I'm going to keep working on the highlights and shading of that. And this little lady is still in the works. I've just been sort of noodling around with colors, not being able to decide what to actually paint her. I think these magenta leggings might stick. We'll see. Can I finish these by next week? Probably. I mean, with these guys, I pretty much know how to paint them. They'll get done, no issue at all. The monsters, it all just comes down to finding the inspiration. If I can come up with good color schemes, and because once I know what color to put on them, executing it is no problem at all. It takes no time, almost. It's the idea process that's difficult with miniatures like these. I mean, for example, here I've just started this guy, and apart from the primer, what's painted is the brain matter is painted a pinkish gray. It's actually the heavy warm gray from Vallejo, while the skin around it is actually bronze flesh tone, also Vallejo game color. Because I had this idea that it is a brain and it's surrounded by skin, so, and I had those paints on my palette, so why not put them there and see how it looks. And I'm kind of still evaluating it. Do I want to keep going in that direction? Do I want to change it? Not sure yet. We will see. And here we see some guys getting ready for priming. I need a second coat of glue on the grit on the basis and let that dry, and then I can prime them. These are the last batch of my cobblestone castings minis that I have in my collection right now. And I think they're going to be the last modern day minis for a while. I mean, well, modern day, these are like 1930s. Pulp era, sort of Call of Cthulhu-esque minis. I have a few more that I could paint, but I'm getting a little bored with it. I'm feeling a little bit burnt out on this era, this style. I need some variety. I need to change things around. I can get back to that later. So, in the pipeline, we do have these Yeti. They're sort of in that vein, kind of. I mean, a Yeti could be a good Call of Cthulhu monster, but they're not humans. I mean, they're something different. And as you can see, I've prepped some round bases for them instead of the square ones that are in the packages. I've decided I want to do that. The other new project that I want to get started is over here. This. Now, I reviewed this DVD set a long time ago, and I have watched it several times, in fact, and I've used some of the techniques in it for a couple of things. But I've decided that I want to go through it in a more detailed way now. And the thing is, when I bought this, it was part of a package deal. I don't think they have that anymore on the Dark Sword site, but when I bought it, you could get it with these minis that are pictured here. And I have them here. So, well, some of them. Most of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different minis here that are used on the DVD to showcase the techniques they teach. And I want to get started on that. It's going to be a slow project, I think, because because I want to be careful with it and make sure that I get the highest quality I can out of it. And finally, one thing I have to mention that is upcoming is that I've decided to get a new tool. And today's the 24th, tomorrow's the 25th. You know what that means? Well, at least here in Sweden it means payday. And I'm splurging on an airbrush. Yes, I'm taking the plunge. I'm finally getting the thing everybody says I should have for more efficient painting. And I've already sort of started to prepare. I've acquired some materials. You can see over here I have bought several bottles of Vallejo primer, which is for using the airbrush. I have airbrush thinner, flow improver, airbrush cleaner, and I've also bought one of these things, one of these cleaning pots that's used to flush out paint from the airbrush after use. So that's ready to go. All that's left is the actual airbrush itself and the compressor, which I will be purchasing. I'll be placing an order tomorrow as soon as my bank account is flush with money again. Yeah. So, lots of stuff happening. Exciting times, exciting times. And oh boy, do I have a lot of new purchases to show you this week. At least it looks like a lot. I calculate that there's actually only 16 minis in here, but they're all really big. This is a package from a retailer called Noble Knight Games, which I sometimes use. And it contains minis from 2 different ranges. One of them is the Gale Force 9 D&D Classic or Collector's Series. And it is mostly big monsters. We have the Umber Hulk, we have a Ogre Mage, we have the Behir, and we have a small tableau of, this is Igwilv's Treasure. This is the vampire Drelsna and a adventurer facing off against her on a sort of coffin thing. So, as I think I mentioned before, I'm trying to pick up some of these because they are limited edition. It says here, only 1,500 ever made. I think most of these are 1,500. Yeah. And they can be a bit hard to find, some of them. I mean, there are a few minis in this range that I currently can't find anywhere. So they seem to have sold out. Not sold out as in left their principles behind, but I mean, yeah, you know, out of stock. And as you can probably tell, the rest of this is bones. This is a collection of Reaper Bones Giants. All 11 giants produced in bones. I think for some reason there's more fire giants than anything else. There's 4 fire giants, 2 frost giants, 2 hill giants, and one of each of the others. 1 stone giant, 1 cloud giant, 1 storm giant. As you can see, I'm not going to show you them all individually, but The reason I got these from Noble Knight instead of directly from Reaper was that they sold these as a pack at a discount as a collection. And one reason I'm showing you these particular minis right now is that I'm thinking most of these anyway, except for this one, are all larger than human sized, larger than medium, and they will benefit actually from the new tool I mentioned that I'm getting, the airbrush. A lot of these will be easier to paint up, at least the base coats, using the airbrush, I think. We'll see how that turns out. Anyway, that was this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Comment if there's something that caught your fancy, especially. And I will see you next week. Until then, I'm Dr. Jan, and I'm signing off.